protection plan, as well as we're working with our History and Archives Department to do a historical resource survey. We received a grant for that. What you're seeing is, over the years, you've seen historic properties go into the tax foreclosure process and then end up being bought by someone who's not from around here and doesn't really give a damn about the area and the particular property, and you see these homes end up crumbling, and we're losing our history one by one with these buildings. So by getting a survey done of all the historic properties in the county and improving our foreclosure process, we're hoping to put an end to that and really start trying to boost these properties, maybe look at the land bank, the IDA, as mechanisms to try to revitalize these properties and showcase the history. So there's just a few things that we've been doing, but ultimately this number should say it all for you. Companies that currently have contractual relationships through loans, pilots, bonds with our Business Development Center employ more than 2,300 people in this county, have a combined payroll in excess of $183 million, and generate more than $6 million in property tax and pilot payments. Those are big numbers. When you look at 2,300 individuals out of a county of about 50,000 people, you're looking at about 5%. But when you actually look at the workforce in Montgomery County and people who are able to work, it's actually more like 10%. So when you have 1 out of every 10 jobs in the county stems from some action that is being taken by our Business Development Center, I think that really puts it in perspective on how well the Business Development Center has been doing in retaining jobs and helping to get new jobs here. Also, that 2,300 with some of the big things that are happening this year, most notably the Dollar General Distribution Center project, which is a over $90 million private sector investment up in the town of Florida. We're looking at 550 new jobs, ranging from $30,000 to $60,000. It's going to be a big boost for us. This number is probably going to get up closer to 3,000 by the end of this year. So that's really good news. And in the Dollar General project, just to give you an update on that, we're working through the final phases of the engineering. They wanted 2 different entrances, a traffic light, and a widening of the road, and we're working with them to get that done, as well as the local permitting process. So that's just an update quick on the Business Development Center. And now getting into this regional business plan, you'll see there's a number of goals here. I'm going to go through them one by one. One of the biggest issues that we have and that we've been focusing a lot of time on is educating and training the region's workforce. The CEO Roundtable, the same people that put this plan together, at one of their recent meetings, they were all together, and there was a question that said, how many openings do you have at your company? And just in that room, there was 200 open jobs, and they weren't just, part-time, seasonal, high school kids type stuff. They were real jobs, careers that they are having a hard time filling jobs in this county. They're actually saying to us, some of these businesses, they have to hire 4 people to get 1 good person. You're seeing a real problem in people not having the basic skills to be employed. Number one, having someone in their family that got up and went to work every day and they've seen that example from them. Knowing how to dress for an interview, passing a drug test, showing up on time for more than 2-3 weeks. Some things that probably a lot of in the room it's common sense, but there's a real issue out there in this county with trying to employ people. So it's not just about getting jobs here, it's also getting people employed that are not employed right now that are already here. So there's been a couple initiatives that are going on. One of them is, and that's why I'll talk about FMCC in a second, but this is actually really cool. There's an Ag P-Tech program that's launching in the fall with 50 students. It's a HFM BOCES and Canjahari were awarded a 7-year grant to establish an early college program in high school focused on agriculture and agribusiness. It's the first of its kind in New York, and as far as we know, it's the first of its kind in the entire country. So through a partnership with SUNY Cobleskill, students can earn both high school diploma and an associate's degree in either 4 or 5 or 6 years. So this is a really cool thing that's going on. I just wanted to bring your attention to that. But most notably, I think the community college is going to be a real mechanism to try to change the dynamic right now. What you're seeing is a lot of times people, what people have said is you need to go to school, you need to get a 4-year degree, and that's been sort of the mantra. But what you're seeing now is a lot of kids are going off to a 4-year college, getting a degree, coming back home with no real job prospects and a boatload of student debt. I am no different. I pay over $1,000 a month in student loans, and I will be well past my daughter has graduated college. And what you're seeing is a lot of people starting to move away from that to 2-year programs, certificate programs, apprenticeship programs, vocational programs, these types of things where there's a real track from high school to a job, or high school to FMCC or BOCES to a job. So what we're trying to do now is identify what jobs we have here, take a look at the people that we have to fill those jobs, and then connect the dots in between. And I'll give you a perfect example. A friend of mine went off to Siena College, got a 4-year degree, came back home, could not find a job, again had the student loan debt, ended up going to FMCC to a 2-year radiology program, got a job at St. Mary's Hospital, now has a great career that she loves, and wishes she never would have went to the 4-year university. So in a nutshell, and I can talk a lot longer about this, but I won't, that's why I feel so strongly that supporting the community college and these BOCES, apprenticeship programs, and things like that are so critical for us. So with that said, the county wrote the grants and provided professional support for the Global Village project, which is an expansion project up at the college, which includes student housing and a whole host of other things. In addition, the county just this past year provided $250,000 to FMCC for capital projects, which was then matched by $250,000 in Fulton County, and then matched by the state for $500,000, so totaling $1 million in capital projects. So that's my spiel on workforce development. Yes?
Matt, my question is, you know, a lot of these jobs are in the eastern end of the county, obviously. People at this end of the county, there are very few jobs, but what jobs there are, the working poor have these jobs. They can't even afford a car to get back and forth to work, and we are very much lacking in any public transportation. There's none up here. There's no taxis. The Max Bus does not accommodate schedules for people that work, say, private duty or at Price Chopper. Or, you know, I know a young lady who faces that every day, has no way to get to work because she can't afford a car. She works minimum wage. Sometimes she can't go to work because she doesn't have a car and nobody can take her. Is there anything that can be done by the Business Development Center for us up here, not only for more jobs, but for helping people who have a job to be able to get to the job?
That is a very good question, and it's a very difficult answer. Providing transportation in rural communities is very hard. A lot of the federal dollars have strings attached to them, so I see empty buses riding around and things like that. But I will. The good news that I have to offer here is it's something I've heard quite a bit of. The two counties have gotten together: City of Amsterdam County, Montgomery County, Fulton County, Gloversville, Johnstown, as well as some nonprofits in the area. We've pulled some money together, and we're taking a look at 3 different options that have worked in other areas. One is a public sector, private sector partnership on a regional transportation system where we kind of pool all our resources together. Also looking at including things like the ARCs. They do a lot of transportation. And how can we work with them and trying to pool these resources together. So we actually have a company that we put up $1,000, I think. Everybody put up a little bit of money, and we're going to be looking at these different options. But I wish there was an easier answer, but there isn't. Right now, we're just going to see if there's a way we can all work together to improve services. I hear it. Office for the Aging tells me the same thing. It's even with seniors trying to get transportation for them to even just get to doctor's appointments and pick up prescriptions and things like that.
Grocery stores.
Groceries, exactly.
I mean, there's no taxi service up here anymore at all. There's nothing.
Yeah. So and also, you know, the county gets federal dollars to run our MACs and things like that. So individually, it's not working so well. The thought is, if we all pool together and try to work together, then maybe we can improve services. So that's what we're trying to work on right now. But it's not going to be any, you know, flip of the switch. It's a really tough issue. So, okay, so getting into the next goal of the regional business plan focuses on small and large shovel-ready sites. And I just want to give you some information about our business parks. In 2015, business located at our business parks had a payroll of about $204 million and employ 1,073 people. And right now pay about $5.4 million in property taxes. However, we're running into a bit of an issue. And the issue is that we're running out of space. With the Florida Park extension likely going to be filled with Dollar General, which is not a done deal yet, but it's been it's going down the appropriate course, and everything seems to be okay. Our 5 industrial business parks located in the county contain about 1,150 acres of land. Once that project goes through, we will only have about 100 acres left of these industrial parks to market, which is only about 9% of our total inventory. So what is that? That leads us to the issue of, okay, where do we look next? So we've really put a focus on industrial parks in 3 areas. The first area, which has been somewhat controversial, was the regional business park. I'll give you a quick update on that. That's the property in the town of Mohawk that's going through a potential annexation right now. The big news for Montgomery County is that we have locked in a 50-50 revenue sharing deal. So should that land get annexed, should it get developed, the county will receive 50% of the county taxes shared with Fulton County. Right now, town of Mohawk is the lead agent in moving forward with the secret process. This is going to be a long-term type of issue. It's not something that's going to be over in a couple months. And just to give you an idea, we talk about jobs, we talk about the positives of economic development, but it's also our school districts. Anybody that looks to move in here, first thing they do is how are your schools? You know, in the Fonda Fultonville Central School District actually gets 20% of all property taxes from the business parks just over the county line. And that was a number that when I heard, I was a bit surprised, and I always like to share with people. So these business parks aren't just about trying to get revenue for the county, put people to work. It's also about trying to make sure our schools have the funding they need. So that's more of a long-term project. The project that I've been spending most of my time on, probably more than any single issue, is the Exit 29 site or the former Beechnut site. There's been a lot of good progress going on over there, and I just want to give you an update on that. And especially given, you know, when you look at developable land in the western part of the county, you run into issues of access, the lack of certain infrastructure, whether it be natural gas in, say, Johnsville or whatever it may be. That Exit 29 site is really has a lot of potential, and it should start to be viewed more as an opportunity than a curse. So what's going on with the former Beechnut site is we obviously this person bought the property in a private sale from Beechnut, and essentially took whatever he could out of the property to make a buck, and has since been actually shut down by DEC, and has since left and has not paid the taxes, and likely this property is going into the foreclosure. So we wanted to get ahead of that. We did an initial phase 1 study to try to get an idea of what it would cost to redevelop this property. The early figures came at $5 to $10 million. Now this was just a phase 1 is more of a, you know, you're not even on site doing testing. You're just it's a very you know, first stage type of thing. So once we got that number, then we said, okay, we need to look to do a phase 2, but you have to get on the site to do a phase 2 analysis to really pin down exactly what the costs are going to be. So what we did is it's a legal term, a TIO, which gives us temporary authority to get on the site, do the testing, but doesn't put us in the chain of title. Being in the chain of title is something that could bankrupt the county should the contamination be a lot worse than we thought. We know there's petroleum spills, we know there's asbestos, and we know one side is going to be a lot more expensive to clean up than the other, but we don't know the specifics until the phase 2 is done. So we put out an RFP for a phase 2 simultaneously with getting the TIO. And then the good news was, in the team that we've created, we have a top-notch environmental lawyer, our county attorney, who actually worked at EPA for some time, and has an environmental background in addition to our economic development office, the local officials. We have a whole team in place. We've been working with DEC and EPA to try to get them interested in the site. The good news is we actually pulled the RFP, which could have been over $100,000, because EPA is now on site doing the work for us for free. And to have them on the site is an incredibly encouraging sign, because there's now interest all the way at the federal level in cleaning up this site. And I'll also say that the state acknowledges that, you know, there was a wrong done to the people of the village of Canajoharie, and that wrong needs to be righted. And the folks that were working in the state planning department, the state economic development office, the regional councils, all get that and are engaged in that site. So we're working. Oh, yes.
Does the beach not have any liability at all?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I mean, I bought a Hawkins motor sale and there was oil spill there. And the DEC told me that every owner in the past 100 years is responsible for paying for that.
Yes, I'll touch on that. So this is, and I've traveled across the state to visit with communities who've cleaned up sites like this. It is a very it's very unique to what we're dealing with, because usually in these situations, a company that will leave a abandoned building like that is long gone and far away. However, this company happens to be one of the biggest employers in the county. So the approach that we're taking is that Beechnut does have a role in this to play as far as maybe financial and being a partner in trying to clean this site up and develop it. But we're trying to keep it right now as a positive type of relationship. They know that they're in the chain of title. Same reason we're scared out of our minds to be in this chain of title. They know they're in the chain of title. So right now, really with the phase 1 and the phase 2, what we've been asking from them is information. Talk to us about the spills. Give us the studies that you've done. Let us know. We're in an information gathering phase. They've been receptive. They've been helpful. And they will get to a point where we will be asking for more. We are just not there right now. But there is an ongoing conversation about that with our economic development office.
Along that line, shouldn't they have been reporting any spills to the EPA? It's required by law?
They did, and that's why.
So there's a record of all spills.
Yes. Well, yes. In a perfect world, yes. But I think every spill probably hasn't been reported. So, but we've foiled all those records from DEC and EPA. So we're putting them together now. Yes, ma'am.
Isn't there a section across from the Methodist Church that's a parking lot that cannot be touched at all? And you can't even put a shovel in there and turn anything over?
That's news to me. I'd have to check into that.
Talk to the mayor and Planetary and the people of Planetary, because we were told that you cannot do anything with that parking lot. It has to stay exactly like it is.
Who owns the parking lot right now?
I have no clue.
Okay.
All I know is that it cannot be changed from what it looks like today.
And that was, it was from actions of Beechnut?
Yes.
Okay, I'll look into that. I just
Thank you.
wasn't aware of it. So where we are right now is where EPA is working on this phase 2, and we're hoping to have the results of that by the end of the summer, fall. We've also been working with the state to line up, there's different pots of money through the regional economic development councils. We're trying to, get the applications ready and apply for those funds. The hope is by the end of the summer, early fall, to have some funding lined up, have all the information from the phase 2, and then the county legislature at that point can make a decision on foreclosure. One additional note is we also won a national grant, which is, I couldn't believe we won it, to be honest with you. The American Architectural Foundation does a grant every year for essentially a master planning project for cities. Cities that have won this grant in the past are major cities like Philadelphia, Wichita, Kansas, like major cities. The village of Canajoharie won it this year. And later this summer, we will be going down to DC to work with some of the best planners, architects, engineers in the country to try to start planning what can be done on this site once we get the demolition and remediation done. So that was fantastic news. That little village of Canajoharie won a national grant. Yeah.
Are there any grants out there to get water and sewer through our corridor up here, the Nelson Palatine corridor?
There are a ton of water and sewer grants this year. Whether or not that specific project would apply,
I'll tell you why. 5 years ago, I had Walgreen looking at that to build a big project. Couldn't go anywhere without water and sewer. Right now, I have a hospital looking at it 24/7, emergency care clinic up there. Can't go anywhere without water and sewer.
So what I would say,
somebody's got to step forward and start working on these grants.
well, and that's a good segue. I usually going to bring this up towards the end of the presentation, but I'll say it now. Since I've been to the county, we've added 2 positions in our economic development office. We added administrative support, and we added another planner. And with giving them the extra help, we are expecting from them to provide results, which is why I'm kind of really focusing on this. But if you have ideas in the town that for grants that you would like to see, we are here to write those grants for you. You go out to a private person to write these grants, you're talking $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 to do these grants. We can do them for you for free. But the direction that I've given our economic development office is we are not here to tell the towns, the villages, and the city of this county what projects they should do and how they should run their towns. We want them to give us the ideas, and we can assist along the way in providing professional support for these grants, whether they be CFAs or otherwise. So that offer is on the table. You can call Amanda or Ken in our economic development office, come meet with them, talk to them about your ideas. If you have any issues where they're not receptive or not doing what you ask them to do as far as a grant, call me and I'll take care of it. But they are here for everyone. And I view the county as a hub for professional services to help the towns and villages who might not have those skills or on staff or have the money to pay $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 for these grants.
Doesn't this board have to approach these people to write the grants? We as individual citizens can't approach.
Correct, but there's individual citizens that approach us about private projects all the time. For example, I call her Dance, and I don't want to screw up her name, but the one who wants to build the Native American facility, she's doing that all on her own. She's spending quite a bit of money on her own, and she's in her office like 3 times a week. And we're helping her as much as we can. So I think it can work both ways. If it's a municipal project, obviously your elected officials would be the more appropriate. But if we are here to take meetings and to answer questions and do those sorts, so I wouldn't be shy.
Who was that was in your office like Native American?
Oh,
What was her name?
We
You
call
know
her Dance.
Betty?
Is it Diane?
I don't want to say because then I'll
She was
screw
at
it
a
up.
village Canterbury meeting? Marjorie.
Is it Marjorie? Okay.
Oh, Marjorie.
Yes.
And I just want to say that, if the county does assume ownership of the Beach Nut property, I would certainly hope that somebody is considering putting a bypass around the village of Canterbury for the truck traffic. I know I've been told years and years ago that there used to be a way to get around there before Beach Nut built the building. The tractor trailers coming south on 10 from the CG Rock sand plant are coming down into Canterbury and they're all headed for the thruway.
Yep.
Canterbury's tight getting through with a car, let alone a tractor trailer. If
Yeah.
I know land's valuable, but to fix that bridge that's currently derated,
Yes.
go into the sewer plant and make a bypass
Yeah.
to come over by the thruway, that would be something that should really be considered if the county does take over ownership of that.
That's been brought up and is part of that trip to DC where we're looking at the master planning. It's not just the master planning of that site, it's the master planning of the whole village. So yeah, that's definitely going to be included. So hopefully we'll get to a point at the end of the summer where we can make a decision and move forward. We meet every month as a team and I report quarterly to the village. I'd be happy to come to any of these meetings. If all you got to do is ask, and I'll be here. I can give you guys an update. So, ultimately, the legislature will have to make a decision on that. But I'm very happy with the progress that we've made, and we've got a lot of interest at the state, and I'm hopeful for some good things. I talked about the business parks and the lack of land left. So, you got Exit 29, you got the regional park, and you also have the Exit 27 site in Amsterdam, which is potential for large development. You'll see here, market the region. This is the point where I always say, I was raised in a home where, I was taught you got to believe in yourself and you got to show people that you believe in yourself, otherwise nobody's going to believe in you. And when we did our marketing and branding study, which was a highly professional, very expensive project that was paid for by grant funds, we found that people from outside of the area have a much better view of the county than people that actually live here, which isn't altogether unique to us, but what was unique to us was how much lower we were than the averages across the country. So what we're trying to do is to try to change that. We're trying to put a better foot forward. I always say, if we don't believe in ourselves, how are we going to expect other people to want to come and move here? When businesses come here, families come here, they walk into the diner, and the first word out of somebody's mouth is, "This place is terrible." So we're trying to do, it's not the end all say all, but we're trying to do what we can to try to improve the image of the county. And I don't have the video here tonight, but you can see it on the county website. The Economic Development Office did a video targeting businesses and all the great things about why they should move a business here. And just to run through them quickly, if you think about it, obviously the natural beauty, obviously the history, but we have a very affordable land. We have great access with the thruway, and then also our geographic location. Where we're positioned in the Northeast is very advantageous for economic development, and also the recreational opportunities, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But we're really trying to do a better job, and also, it's very hard to get a camera from the Albany stations out here to report on something good in Montgomery County. But yet, just like the other day, if two neighbors get in a fight and if somebody puts a bullet in the neighbor's bull's head, we're going to get the cameras out here. So when you go to Albany and you go to some other places, that they think that's all that happens here sometimes. So we're trying to do what we can to get the cameras out here, get new better stories in the Albany media market about what's going on in Montgomery County. But if anybody wants to check out anything with branding, I'd say check out our county website. It's completely redone, and there's a few videos up there that'll give you an idea of what we've been doing. Also, we've renewed our relationship with the Chamber of Commerce to do our tourism program. So if anybody's interested in some of the tourism activities or promoting, you have events you want to promote, please don't be shy about giving my office a call. We'd be happy to help you out. We're also looking at, we just received a grant, $290,000 to look at developing cycling loops stemming from the Erie Canalway Trail that'll stop at historic sites and attractions and communities along the bike trail. Which leads me to the next goal, which is improve the region's quality of life, and this is one of the slides that I'm most proud of. We've received now over $500,000, and we are going to be paving all of the unpaved portions and resurfacing all the portions that are paved for the bike trail from one end of the county to the other. DPW guys have already gone out and cleared the trail and getting prepped for this. It's a tremendous recreational asset, and it's going to be in top-notch shape after this year. Yes, sir.
It's good to help on the other side of the river, but it's also good to remember that a lot of the history in this area
Right here.
is on this side of the river.
And in my opinion, it runs up both sides, and it's
I have
tremendous.
had over 60 years trying to preserve Fort Clark, I have. So I do understand a little of that.
Yeah, it's
And Saudi Arabia is a unique place.
I couldn't agree more. I think our history that we have here and all the sites are particularly the colonial history. It's fantastic. So, some other things that we've been doing, obviously focusing on the Canalway is important. You'll see a number of projects here. We were able to get funded this year, the Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Park in St. Johnsville for $75,000. Got two projects going on in Fonda Fultonville. There's a Fort Plain project in here. And also we were able to get a $64,000 grant for the Mohawk Valley Snowmobile Clubs for maintenance of our snowmobile trails. Not only do we have the bike trail, obviously, but we have hundreds of miles of snowmobile trails, which is another tremendous asset for us. Goal 5, extend utilities and broadband throughout the region. Yes, ma'am.
Are we the only town without a memorial for veterans?
That I don't know the answer.
Because I noticed a lot of other ones have monuments.
There's a number of them throughout the county. I'd like to think that I've been to them all, but I don't know if this is the only one.
Because I seen the soldiers and so.
Yeah, and that was a project that was been in the pipeline for 4 or 5 years, and we really pushed for it this year. We're able to get it funded. But again, those are types of things we can help with, and we'd be more than happy to. Goal number 5, which is extending utilities and broadband throughout the region. This includes things like natural gas, but it also includes things like broadband, which is incredibly important. And my understanding is, just to give you an update, the governor is really subsidizing broadband and putting a lot of money from bank settlement funds into broadband. Essentially, if it made sense for the private sector to make money on it, it would have happened, but that's why it's not. So now the governor's looking to, essentially subsidize it. The issue that we have here in Montgomery County is Time Warner Cable covers a great portion of the county.